We have an example problem here. An unpolarized light is incident upon two polarization filters that do not have their transmission axes aligned. If 18% of the light passes through, what is the angle between the transmission axes of the filters? Okay, let's get kind of a visual in our mind so that we can kind of visualize what's happening. So unpolarized light means that we have electric field components in all directions. I have two filters. I do not know how their axes are oriented. I'm trying to find the angle between them. So if I make the first one oriented vertically, and the second one oriented at some angle from vertical, I'm going to call that theta. We know that the final light that will come through this last filter will be oriented in the same, along the same line as this axis. So that's the filter axis. We're told that this intensity is 18%. So that would be 0.18 of whatever the original intensity was. So I'm going to call that I naught. So whenever we have unpolarized light shining on a filter, the transmitted is always half of the original intensity. And the orientation of this now polarized light is the same as the filter axis. It's lined up with that filter axis. And it is now polarized. We are now at the situation, I'll get a different color. We now have polarized light. My computer's very slow at the moment. Polarized light shining on a filter. The equation that represents the transmitted light is I naught times cosine squared of theta. Well, the light transmitted in this case is the 18% of the original over here, I naught. This I naught, though, is not the original I naught. This is the intensity of the polarized light. It's whatever the intensity of the polarized light is that's shining on filter 2. Well, we lost half of that original intensity when we went through filter 1. Now the angle, the theta, is the angle between how this light is polarized, which is the same as the first filter that I drew, and this new filter axis. Hey Fritz, stop. Sorry, dog sitting here. So the theta is the angle I'm looking for. The question wants to know the angle between the transmission axes of the two filters. So since I drew theta from vertical and I chose to make my first axis vertical, this theta is what we are looking for. I can cancel out these I naughts. I have to bring the 2 over, so I get 0.36 is equal to cosine squared of theta. Well, I need to get rid of the cosine squared first. So square root of both sides is going to leave me with cosine of theta equaling the square root of 0.36. So when I take the inverse cosine of both sides, I'm getting 53 degrees. So to get the 18% through, those transmission axes had to have had an angle of 53 degrees between the two of them.